in single mother households.
And
Can you
she's
explain
laughing.
that? Why is it that in single mother households, the children have every single multiple disadvantage you could think of, including mental illness, homelessness, everything else, when in comparison, we go back to before there was no fault divorce, women stayed married. That generation of children, far better adjusted, way less mental illness, way less homelessness, way better nest eggs. They have better advantages in every aspect. So if it is the case that women were just miserable, right, and they shouldn't have stayed just out of duty because that would affect the kids, it seems to have affected them positively, didn't it? This is like these two-parent households. We see this over and over and over again. The outcomes for those children, way better. They did better academically. They did better physically. They did better in almost every aspect of life in comparison to modern children who are raised in single mother households. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. All data points to this. All of it.
Okay, so you were saying that those kids back in the days were better physically. Okay, yeah, I agree with you because there was no internet, there was no social media. Kids went outside, they played, they socialized. It was a different time, right? That's what you keep bringing it. No, you want it was a different time. There was not as many people in the world. It wasn't so multicultural, right? Was it? It was a different world where
these
you
are great
lived.
arguments against feminism.
Going to be different. Hang on, the outcomes are going to be different. Right? Nobody was glued to their TV all day long. So obviously they were better physically fit, right? They went and played more sports so you could see better sportsmen coming out of there. Nowadays you're seeing more gamers. It's just different. You're still seeing that talent, but it's different. It's you don't no, because there wasn't that many people at that time either. Like I just don't understand how you keep comparing that time to now time because the situations were different. You know, everything wasn't.
These are great arguments against multiculturalism.
It wasn't so expensive. You know, both parents didn't have to go work outside, right?
Yeah.
You could live in a home and one car in a decent. The times have changed now. You cannot just say, "Oh, it's because single mom."
This is great.
Again, the single moms. Where are the fathers? Why are they
like?
Not
This is fantastic.
The fathers are not in the house because the woman wanted the freedom to leave the marriage and the relationship whenever she wanted to. You fought for the right to work. So work. What's the issue? You said you're strong and independent, don't need no man. Okay, take care of the kids. Why are you complaining that there are no fathers in the house? Yet you fought for the right to be independent of men. Because guys, remember, anytime a woman says, I am independent, strong, don't need no man, she says, I'm independent. Independent of who? Of men. Men never make money and scream and I'm independent. In fact, when men make money, they are dying to find a woman and kids to provide for. When men make money, they need to provide for somebody. When women make money, they scream, I don't need no man. So you cannot complain after crying about, I need my freedom to work. I need my freedom to be single whenever I want. I'm a strong single mom. I don't need no man. You claimed you wanted those things. Now you're complaining that men don't want to be fathers anymore. Women don't want to be wives, but you expect men to be husbands?
You're right. It's almost like putting women in the workforce, right? Because rich industrialists wanted them to be in the workforce, and they did, and it was all funded by Rockefeller, for instance, who wanted them in the workforce in the worst way, okay? Doubled the now amount of labor, industrial labor, which was available, thus decreasing and suppressing wages necessarily. It was a terrible idea. You're right. They could afford one income because society was set up for that. Women demanded the opposite, and the outcome of that was really bad. Not only that, but let's take a look at your other arguments here, which are absurd arguments. You would have a good leg to stand on if you said, well, wait a second, it's a different time then, and they didn't have A, B, C, and D. Well, okay, but now we see in two-parent households right this second in modernity, the outcomes for children are still way better. Even if they're in houses where the mom and daddy don't really like each other that much, the outcome for the kids are still better. Why? Because they govern that stuff. They govern the smartphone use. They make them have more playtime. They make demands that they watch less TV. Single mothers aren't making those types of demands. They don't even have time to make those types of demands. Clearly, it's better to have a two-parent household and keep those intact. Feminism has been doing everything it can to destroy that and women's liberation. And I just demonstrated it to you, and you demonstrated it yourself by giving the examples of how society used to be way better.
Fair here.
Fact. I'm gonna honestly, I believe that feminism has benefited men. You know why? Because men don't feel the obligation to provide anymore. And that's because women have been saying we don't need men. We don't need you to provide for us. We make our own money. So back when a man used to believe I should work 60, 80 hours to provide for my kids, to provide for my family, now men are like, oh, you mean to tell me I don't need to work 60 hours to break my back? I can just do 40 hours, provide for myself, and that's it? So men don't have the obligation. Men don't feel the duty anymore because of feminism. So for me, honestly, I believe feminism helped men. There's no more pressure on a man to provide and protect because you have your equals, the women who are willing to provide and protect as well. It's a fair game to me.
Malik, go ahead.
I think women need to have the right to have a divorce. If they're not happy in a marriage, they should have a right to divorce.
You got it.
The fact that you keep saying it and keep bringing it up, I would agree with you. Yes, I agree with you that a child needs both parents. And again, you keep saying single mothers, single mothers, single mothers. I can list 100 names right now of single mothers whose men are not involved. They don't want to see the kids.
Their choice.
So you keep blaming the women where we are the ones trying. First of all, we didn't go and get an abortion because otherwise then we would be baby killers. So now we chose to keep the kids, right? So that's also our responsibility. Now we're single mothers and nobody wants this anymore. And the men go and cry on the internet, oh, we are restricting access to their kids. No, these men choose. I have even seen men that will quit working so they don't have to pay child support. Yes, maybe single.
And they go to jail because judges don't like that. Some guys have tried that. Let's say a judge tells me to pay $1,000 a month in child support, and then I quit my job and get a lower paying job so I don't have to pay $1,000. I'll go to jail. Actually, that doesn't fly. Men who do that go to jail. So I don't know what she's talking about.
Mothers do fall behind, but they have a lot on their plate. But I will tell you something else. I know you're bringing these stats and stuff, but what I see around me, it's totally different. I have seen single mothers, once they get out of the relationship, they're better, they're focusing on themselves, they can focus better on their kids now. Their life is more organized, they're doing far more better when they were together in an unhappy relationship.
So why are you complaining?
Yeah, this is hilarious.
If the single mothers are doing better without men, why are you complaining about men not being fathers? Because remember, I've never seen a single mom who claimed that when she broke up her marriage, when she divorced her husband, when she broke up her relationship, she told the judge, I want us to do 50-50 custody. Out of 10 single moms, you will find only one who told the judge, I want the father to have the kids 50% of the time, and I want to have them 50% of the time, and I don't want him to pay child support. You may find maybe one. Majority of them tell the judge, I want to keep the kids 90% of the time. I want him to have visitation. I want him to have visitation with someone there, a witness, because he's a danger to his own kids. But I want him to pay me child support.
Because we can look at multiple studies which have meta-analysis done on them, right? And so we can prove that the court system has been extraordinarily biased against men towards women when it comes to custody here in the United States. We have all the support in the world to prove it. We also know that women are initiating the divorces, not men, due to the unhappiness level. Right? Yep. They're the initiators of these divorces, not the men. So yeah, the men are like, oh, okay, so you're going to take my kid, hit me out of the blue with a divorce, right? And I'm supposed to pay child support? Like, screw that. It's a raw deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, men have legitimate concerns and gripes with this, right? When they get blasted with things like this, men are put in that position. The court systems have been traditionally biased against them. At least my entire adult life they have. And in my father's adult life they were. The second we went into no fault and the custody agreements were automatically defaulting to women. We can see this time and time again. Only through men's rights advocacy has this gotten better at all. And right now, what we can do is we can look at the data of single mother versus single father households, and the single father households outperform them by every single metric. Do you know why that is? It's because abuse in the home happens to children, mostly because of step parents, where women are bringing strange men around the kids, and that's when the kids get diddled and they get beat up and they get everything else. That's on women. That's on the women. You understand?
This whole argument that, oh, it's because the single mothers are bringing men, because otherwise kids were never getting molested in the houses. Let's not even talk about the church. In Pakistan, most of the kids...
Let's talk about it.
Hang on. In the double family homes, you know who is getting molested in Pakistan? They're wearing burqas, they're covering everything. The kids are getting molested at their house, in their house. Okay, some
Yeah, but the chances are lower of the kids being abused if the father is in the house. Now, if it's a stepfather, the uncles can come in, but if the father's in the house, the chances go down. We're not saying it doesn't happen. We're saying the chances are lower.
step parent didn't have to come in. Yeah, I know it happens, and women should be careful. But the way you paint here, that every single mother is here going on, I've had one guy beat my daughter because I know what it takes to be in that situation, right? Ever. And that's the worst thing that can happen to your have like your
Did
child
you
get
say you
molested.
had a guy beat your daughter?
No, I said I've only have had one man meet my daughter,
Oh,
but
meet.
you sit
Okay, sorry.
here paint all single mothers that are bringing their, step parents in. And again, how is that woman's fault? Because she's trusting that man. And of course, you men are like this. You will like be. I can't even believe it. Like you will come into a relationship with a woman and then try to go and do that to their kid because men are so evil, right? But again, I'm gonna go back to your
She's a like she drank the feminist Kool-Aid. She probably takes a sip every day. It's probably like her medication. It's crazy. Because now, how are you trusting a stepfather, but you cannot trust the father, the real father of the kids? Why are you trusting new men around your kids, but you could not trust the father, the real father? That doesn't even make sense. But anyway, man, shout out to this podcast. I'll put the link down below. And shout out to Andrew, man. Nice debate. What do you guys think about it? Comment down below. Link down below for the full video.